Hello and welcome back to the No Excuses podcast. My name is Anne and I live in the middle of Worcestershire with my husband Tom and our dog Bertie, who as usual is lying behind me. I could just see his bum sticking out the door. Tom tends to shut the door too a little bit so that Bertie can come and go while I'm talking. So you might hear some noises from the rest of the home as I record. Well, today is mainly going to be talking about Wonderwool. Yay! This time last week and all that, I was in the middle of Wales with a load of friends and we were sitting down to chat and it was great. But more of that later. How have you been? Welcome back, and if you're a new subscriber or you've not seen me before, I generally just waffle with a bit of knitting and planning to do other crafts but never quite getting round to do them. We'll see about that in the next few weeks, hopefully. First of all, as I say, it's episode 58 and today is Sunday the 30th, last day of April. It's May Day tomorrow. May the 5th month. This is scary. Anyway, I have got one mal running at the moment and I'm thinking about a second one and I'm going to discuss it with you in a minute. You can enter on Instagram or Ravelry, or you can email me, and it's just called Smash the Stash, and I'll put the hashtag on the screen, and it'll be everything I talk about will be down below on a screen at YouTube where it says more under the description. It shows you less and less now of what the video is about or any notes. You have to click on that little more ... to expand it so you can read and look at all the links that I've put in there and anything else that I referred to in the video, hopefully. To enter Smash the Stash, it can be any item, and if it's a blanket it doesn't even have to be finished by the end of the mal. The idea is that more than 50% of the item is made up of yarn, wool, cotton, whatever, that is more than 6 months old from your stash or your collection, whatever you'd like to call it. And then if you're doing that, then you can enter Smash the Stash. I've got a few entries already and they're coming in slowly but surely. Get them in. As a prize, I offer a bag, a wonky bag, and usually a skein of yarn and a few bits and pieces, so it's worth entering, I hope. But the wonky bag bit, they've been well received so far. Would you tell me if they'd fallen apart? I'm not sure. Anyway, the other mal that we need to mention at the moment is the scrappy toy mal that's been run by Alice of SoxyNana Alice. Alice is based in Canada and I'm in England. But between us, there's a Ravelry thread on in my Ravelry group, my discussion group, and I'll put a link down below. And then Alice is going to look after the Instagram side of it. Basically, it's any toy, doll, animal, small little thing that you'd make as something to put on the side to look at that you like knitting, or a toy. If they're done with children in mind, then obviously they don't have buttons and things like that on, but you know the sort of thing I mean. Some people call them softies, toys, bears, you name it. And that's going to run for about another month, about 6 weeks probably. I think Alice said June time she's going to finish it, which means I need to get a move on because I want to do a tea room bear and I haven't even started it yet because I keep saying I want to finish what I've got on the needles before I start that. I haven't done a lot of knitting recently. Now, I was going to announce an accessory mal, a shawl or anything that, socks, you name it, that isn't a cardigan or a jumper or a top. But I've come to a bit of a dilemma and I'll talk about it in a minute because it's to do with some yarn I already own that I'd already started a different project with. So I'm still hung up. If you've got any ideas for mals, then, I mean, Penny and I were talking on the way back from Wonderwool, and I was thinking about the toss a coin mal. You know, where you can't make a decision about what you want to make, and there might be this, that, or the other, and you can't decide. And sometimes you need to let fate take a hand, and, you know, toss a coin, right, and stick to it. Although nobody's going to know if you don't stick to it. And that was a sort of an idea, but I don't know. We'll see. What am I wearing? I'm wearing my City Limits jumper, one of them. If I get a nice day this week, a couple of them's going to get washed with a load of socks. I just put them on the wool wash in the machine. Very pilly, if you can see it up close. Lovely colours, but very pilly. I'm going to have to replace these at some time. Oh, I wonder what I can replace them with. Do I have some wool? Oh, I might have. I need to slurp. And as usual, I'll put the link to the City Limits down below. I do like these jumpers. Tom said to me, he said, I wouldn't mind a Marley jumper like that. So I might get him to try one of mine on and see. It'll need to be longer in the arms, but not necessarily wider in the body. So maybe. It goes from child sizes up to adult anyway, and I didn't make the biggest size, so there's plenty of scope for me to play around with the pattern. There you go. I will start wearing different things. It's just that, as always, I'm in a bit of a mess here, and Tom wants to put some stuff up in the loft. Stuff never comes out the loft. It does, but... And I've got another IKEA bag to go in the loft, and two of the laundry bags, they call them on Amazon, which are big and made out of nylon. They look a bit tatty actually, even when they're new. But one's got fabric in and one's got mainly wool in it, and I need to go through them after I've recorded so that Tom can pop the stuff in the loft and get it out of the way, so I can get into the wardrobe and find something else to wear. At the moment it takes, 5 minutes to get into the wardrobe. Yeah, that's an exaggeration, but you have to move stuff out of the way or put them in another room to get in there, and it's too much. I've got to stop buying things and start making things. I say that every time. And this is why we're called the No Excuses Podcast. Because I'm full of this rubbish. Absolutely full of it. Let's talk about progress. Right, I've been working on Tom's blanket, the mitered square one, and I've got a couple of photos to put up, but it's in this, I don't know if you can see it, black and white bag now at the bottom with all my other minis that I'm going to put into the blanket, and that is going to go away until the end of August. Bank holiday Monday, I will get a reminder on my diary, on my phone or whatever, my tablet, whatever, and it would come up and say, get Tom's blanket out of the loft, so I can work on it and then he can have it by October, say. Because what I'm finding is, like I did with my pastel version, I'm only working on that because it's easy to pick up, decide what colours I'm going to do another square, and the difference is that Tom's squares are taking longer than mine did for two reasons. They're 50% bigger, and I've started using the crochet blanket that I took apart. You might have seen on Instagram. I took apart that I'd crocheted for my mum, but it had grown and stretched, and the granny squares had got big, the holes in between the units, between the stitches were too big really to be that useful, and she was using it as a decoration on the back of her settee, like an antimacassar. So I've took that apart and now I've got lots of crinkly little minis, and unfortunately, although crochet is very yarn hungry, it takes about three of those to make one of Tom's squares. It's like the blue tits are arriving, just distracting me with their movement. So and because I'm using two colours at a time, I get to a certain point, I've got to change one colour, get to a certain point, I've got to change a second colour, and then I've got all those ends to sew in. And I didn't mind that, but I was only working on that. And then I was going to work on my blue moment in the evening, and then I was too tired because I've been doing different things, you know, not a lot, but I'm going through a phase of falling asleep at night at the moment, so, and that's before I take my Cocodamol. Sorry, pig noises are not really conducive on a podcast, are they? So that's going up in the loft. I'm not going to show you my blue moment, but I will show it you next time, because I've done. I'm going to work on it during the day from now on, and I've also got to finish the pink and grey boxy, and I want to get that off the needle so I can wear it. So, but the other thing, excuse the crackling, is I've been working on. Put that back. I hope you didn't nudge you then. I've been working on, and I know you'll recognise it. It's a, oh God, it's a crown. This is my crown. It's got to be joined around the back of my head. Obviously, it's got to be joined, sorry. And then I can wear it on Wednesday night. The first Wednesday in every month, the Tena girls meet. And I said, because I'm full of ideas, why don't we have a coronation themed one, because it's Charles's coronation on Saturday. So we said yes, because we like doing stupid things. I mean, two of us are in our 60s, the third one is 60 in July, and Nick is 9 years younger than me, so she's a baby. But we like doing silly things, you know, and not to attract attention. We do it because we like being silly ourselves, you know. Like I said to you before, you know, men think we're on the pull, and we're not. People think, oh, why is it always the creepy men that come and talk to you? Anyway, you don't get that so much in the Cosy Club. Now we've moved from Wetherspoons, of course. So this is my crown. I've decided to finish it like this. It's very, very sparkly. And all I did is I decided to do the band sidewards, so then I can measure it around my own head. And it's got about 3 inches of flex. But I can put some elastic, or I can put a button on it or whatever to make sure it fits me properly, because I want to wear it for a few hours. And then I've just done different stitches, and I've been using the Stylecraft Naturals, and I think it's silver, which is a bamboo and cotton. I don't know if you remember, but I did a couple of summer tops in this last year. So I did like a pinky clay colour, and I've got some called celery, which is a lovely light green that I should be knitting up now really for this summer. So that's the main body. And then I bought this glorious sort of, can you see how sparkly that is? It's like iridescent. I love anything iridescent. It's like my moon. Well, you probably can't see them. Let me move my hair out of the way. I can't reach my own head anymore. I don't think you can see my, can you see my moon stone earrings? I've worn them to go with that, as you do. I do like to be coordinated. And this is, I've screwed it up and ripped it in half. It's called Linkatess Gold Rush Decorative Thread. So I'm going to be showing you the label. But I got this from a company called Tudor Rose Patchwork on eBay. And although we're not dealing with incoming, I'll show you, I bought some stretch thread as well. You remember I showed you the fabric for the knickers last time? So I found this stretch thread, which is Metla, and it's, I don't know if you can see, I haven't undone it yet, taking the cellophane off. But I bought 3 colours. I bought a grey, that purpley one, because I thought that would go nicely with the colour of that fabric I bought for my knickers, and then that one for the t-shirt, pink. So I bought those as well from this Tudor Rosecraft Patchwork on eBay, and it came very quickly, and I'm quite pleased with that. I might have a look and see if I could get anything sparkly or sequins to sew on to make it even more glittery, but I've decided I'm not wearing a crown, I'm wearing a coronet, because trying to crochet that, I did most of it on a 3.5 hook, and this is a 250, and I really don't like using this because it's I'm used to the ergonomics. Those are my knit, I think they're Knit Pros, but honestly it's coming off. I've had them so long, they peel. It's revolting, absolutely revolting. But then at the moment I don't use them often enough to buy any more, if you know what I mean. Anyway, using this is a bit awkward. I used it double with that at one point, and then I've done it on its own and went down a couple of needle sizes, cock sizes, and did the edging. And I started doing another edging with lots of loops on, and I thought I'd lost the will to live, basically. It hurt my hands and my arm, so I decided that it was going to be no more, and it was going to be like this. And I might embellish it. I've got some beads and things I could put on. So that's my crown. I will put photographs in, not this time because I want to get this out by Monday, but I'll show you some pictures, and we'll take some pictures at Tena evening anyway. The girls don't mind being on the podcast. Well, if I don't tell them, they won't notice, because they don't watch me, so which is fine, you know. So that's it really. That's it for what I've been working on, which is not a lot. This week, once the podcast is up and I've sorted these bags to go in the loft, I will be making the bags for the prizes to go to Minnesota, and one in the UK to Sue and to Sally in Minnesota, and get them out, and then it's another tick in the box for me, isn't it? So let's talk about what I want to talk about. Is Wonderwool. I was actually very, very excited about Wonderwool, because, as I've said before, you don't get excited about that much when you're an adult. So it's really nice to have something to really, really look forward to. Now, I took cash with me, and the idea being that I've got a credit card with me, but the idea being that I got enough cash for what I wanted. And I went through in a little notebook and I wrote down the meterage of cardigans or jumpers that I'd got in mind that I might buy a quantity of yarn there for. But I didn't look in it. I didn't look in the book ones. Excuse me. So, I'm going to go, first of all, I'm going to show you what Sal gave me and what Pip gave me as gifts, and partly for the podcast as well, because Sal said I could give things away if I wanted to. Right, first of all, we have this quantity, and it's in an organza bag, of this gorgeous Lana Grossa lace weight wool. And Sal had heard me talking about getting some lace weight, primarily to go with the camel's yarn, that very soft stuff that I was making the Arco Iris out of, which I'm going to talk about in a little while. But I thought I'd deal with the incoming first. And this is a beautiful colour. It's like a sea green, and I'm hoping I can wear it. Yeah, I can. Now this is Lana Grossa Core Wool Lace. It says it's extra fine merino, colour 5, and I did look it up, but it's German or something European. And for 50 grams you get 400 metres, and Sal's given me 400 grams, 8 skeins. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's so soft. Now I would be looking to mix this with something, because unless I made a very pretty shawl, and Sal had the most gorgeous shawl with that at Wonderwool, that then I think, because of the quantity I've got, I'd rather do something more useful with it. I make a cardigan. I'm thinking a short sleeve cardigan for the summer would be nice. So that's the first thing. And then Sal has given me so much stuff. He's so generous. And he's worrying though, Sal, how much you've amassed over the years. I mean, you know, because when Sal moved out, she said she gave some stuff to a local school as well. So in here are other, it's all mainly lace weight, so I'll just pop it out here. There's a dark grey, and this is from Posh Yarn, and it's called Good Cop Bad Cop, and this looks very similar but it's slightly lighter in tone. In fact, I don't know whether I'd call that a brown actually. I used to call it a donkey brown when I was younger, but anyway, they're both lace weight, and this said it's 50% merino, 50% tencel, and they do feel the same. Hand dyed in Wales. The Posh Yarn isn't going anymore, are they? And it says it's 875 yards. I did do the conversion to meters, but for 100 grams. And they are so soft, and they will get used definitely. And it might be a stripe going on here, because also got this a skein and a bit of Rialto, Debbie Bliss Rialto lace in a grey, and I think it was just called grey when I looked up the colour number, or silver. This is extra fine merino again, and 50 grams, and it's 390 metres, so very similar to the cool wool. And then there's three beautiful balls of Drops Kid Silk in like a mid grey, I think it was, because they do a lighter one which is more like a silver, and they do a darker one, I think. So that's gorgeous, and I know that I can definitely use that. And actually I could put these together quite successful. So I thought Bertie was waiting for something for me. He's just had his dinner, his lunch, so he would have had today probably a sausage with a charcoal biscuit. I'll just pop them back in there. Sorry about the crinkling, but if I don't put things back, then I've got no room to work. So they're all very, very nice. And then finally from Sal, well, not finally, but this is Gorgeous Knits, and this looks like it's all the same as well, different colours, but it feels the same. Again, it's lace weight, but it doesn't give any detail about the makeup of it, so I'm thinking it's wool or a wool mix, but it feels very, very nice. And I'm not going to undo it because it's all tied up, but I've got a lighter grey and a darker grey in here, and there's plenty there. There's about 350 grams, so yeah, thank you very much for all that, Sal. So now I can't get to it. This is how much prep I do for my podcast. But Sal also gave me some very unusual, and I'll put photographs up of it feels like cotton to me, but it could be wool. Difficult to tell because it didn't say on the label, and it's a cream and a dark brown, separate colours, in different skeins, but they've got threaded into them like leaves, and like very fine, delicate leaves, and wooden beads separately throughout the, so you knit it up and you get a bit of decoration, and I think that would make a really, really pretty shawl actually. So yeah, so thank you for that. I'm sorry it's buried, but to show you that would be interesting, but as usual I have failed at the first post. No, not failed, put some photographs in. So thank you very much for the haul. So I had to go back to the car because I'd already got more than I bought, and then when we sat down, the lovely Pip gave me this. Now this is Bertie's had egg. I can smell it because my mum gave me some eggs that are just past the sell-by date, which won't bother Bertie obviously, and so Tom makes him like eggy bread every other day for his dinner. That dog is better fed than most children, I tell you. Makes you wonder anyway. This is Plutalopi, or Lopi, or Istex, and they call them plates, don't they, I think. And this is gorgeous. It's like a silver grey. Now Pip, you did have the jumper made with it, didn't you? You had the jumper on. I'm going to put a little video in that Sal did for me, but Sal's not on the video, cheekily, and I thought I'd taken some pictures of Sal, but she's pulling a stupid face, aren't you? So I'm not going to put that over there because it scare people. So I'm going to see, ask Anita if she's got any photographs, or Paula, if there's any photographs of Sal that I can put on there. Or I will put the silly ones up. So that's lovely. And I've had a look on the Wool Warehouse, because Penny said that they'd sold out of a few colours, and it looks like they've got some in stock of various things, and I might see and buy another, not necessarily one of these, but another couple of colours, and make myself something like a hat or mitts or something in a couple of colours. I did have some Lopi left over, but I made mittens out of those. But Pip's jumper looked so nice, and it was so cold in there. Oh, I talk about Wonderwool. So thank you, ladies. You are so generous to me. And Anita bought a big tub of Welsh cakes that she'd made herself, and they're absolutely delicious. And I bought a couple home for Tom, and he said how nice they were. So, you know, it was a nice little meet-up, actually. But anyway, we'll get on to that. So, ta-da! Wonderwool. I'll show you what I bought in the order that I bought it in a minute. Let's talk about it first, though. I got up very, very early for me, about 6:30, basically because I wanted to put makeup on. I feel better dressed when I've got makeup on. I'm very, very blotchy otherwise. I've got a bit of powder on today, that's all. But I picked Penny up probably about 10 to 8, and we got to Bilthwells at about 9:30. We parked. We were one of the first blue badges to park. We parked in a big hall, not dissimilar to the ones that the Wool's in, but it was cold, and I was wearing my Swamp Monster cardigan and a top. So I felt a little bit cold most of the day. Actually, I should have took a shawl with me. But then what colour shawl would I have worn? Because I wanted to be coordinated. And we had to wait a little while. We got prepaid tickets, but we had to wait a few minutes to go in. And we decided that we'd go into Hall 3 this time, which is the one as you walk up, you go in onto the left. It's where they hold the sheep walk, the fashion show, a couple of times a day. And we went in there because last year we found the knitting shed a bit late, and not that they'd sold out of anything, but they didn't have much quantity. And now of any one thing, if you wanted to buy a sweater quantity, I'm sure you could order it. But I couldn't make my mind up about which base. They're all really lovely, and their colours are gorgeous. They had some beautiful sort of like ballet slipper colours. I don't know if one of them was called ballet or something, like a peachy pink. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. But they had other ones like mustards, and in the end I thought, this is my first stall. My head's going to explode. So then we went round the corner and we ran into Kelly and Nick of Lay Family Yarns, who we've met several times over the years, and we had a lovely chat to them because it was early. They you know, people there weren't loads and loads of people there, but I'll tell you something, in Hall 3 it was colder inside than it was outside. Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. But so I had a nice chat to Kelly and Nick, had a look round, because really I wanted to look before I bought, which I didn't really stick to, as of course. And it meant that I missed Camel's Yarn, because they were in between the knitting shed and the Camel and Lay Family Yarns in the middle bit, and I just totally missed them. But we saw them later because we came back in and had a look round again, which is a good job because Penny ended up buying from the Camel's Yarn. I must see if you can send me some pictures actually. We'll see about that. Anyway, came out of there and went into the big shed, which is basically halls 1 and 2 joined up. You can see when you go from one to the other. Hall 1, Sal, is not where we were meeting. That was Hall 2. Yeah, remember? She was adamant she was sat in the right place, and Anita said to her, you meeting Anne? She went, yeah, yeah. Said, no, you're in the wrong place. No, I'm not. This is where she said. We had to go and get her in the end. Anyway, it's funny. Anyway, saw Sal quite early on, and she gave me that gorgeous yarn, which we then took back half an hour later back to the car. But we started looking around, and the first thing that I bought, right, we had a look round. I wanted to go and look at Lilliput because she does these lovely yarn bowls, but also she does sea glass buttons. And I did the same this year that I did last year, which is go past thinking I'll come back again and never went back again. So I'm a bit annoyed about that. But as soon as I saw Angela of Attic Spin Dye, made a beeline for her. Well, we called in next door at the Woolly Tangle because I'd seen some of the stuff she'd got online on Instagram, but then went straight and had a chat to Angela. And again, I meant to go back and say try to her. But I bought, didn't I? I had to. So much for saying, right, well, I'm going to have a look round first, and then I'll buy. Because I get like, it might sell out. But she got some gorgeous, I took a picture of one of the skeins on my camera that I really liked, because I thought it would go with something I was making. But in the end, I saw this, which is Urban Rust. And it's got the most gorgeous colours in. And got a stitch marker, a peacock on it. And I really like that, but of course I didn't want to just buy one. So I bought this one, which is called Dark Bidding. And it's, I don't know if you can see it, it's a navy with purple in it and a lighter blue. It almost looks like it's shimmering. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to put those two together into a shawl because I think they'll go really, really nice. Now, I was tempted because I'd said to Angela in the week that there's a couple of things I'm looking for from hers. I was looking at some of their very light sorbet speckle things, but I ended up buying these instead because, you know, the greed, or not the greed, the yearning, the wanting overtakes you, and you're like, I like that, and I'm going to buy it because it's a bit different to what I normally buy. So those were my first two purchases from Attic Spin Dye. And then went around doing this, that and the other, and my friend Elaine, who I made that scarf for out of my minis that were in like a greeny teal colour earlier this year, said, can I have a blue scarf? So I went and had a look at Siobhan's Crafts, and I bought these two for Elaine. And this one's called Siobhan's Jeans, and you can see it's a denim blue, more or less, with speckles in, bright neon speckles, and it's variegated as well because it's light at that end. And I asked her, and she had a lighter one than that, but also this goes with it, and this is called Denim Sprinkles, and this is the same denim blue with I don't know if you can see, there's like neon sprinkles on that, but not on the white, it's on the denim colour itself, unlike this one, which is mainly the sprinkles are on the white areas. So those two will go to make up Elaine's shawl or scarf. I'll ask her what she wants, and then if I can find it, because I'd spent, I think they were £16 each, and because I'd spent more than £30, I had a Wonderwool badge. So I need to put that somewhere. Might be able to attach it to me notice board actually. A little Wonderwool badge, 2023, to prove I was there, just in case people doubt me. Did I actually go? I'm going to go out of sync now because we had a good look round, we had a good chat, because you know, you get to know some of the store holders, don't you? And you know, ideally I'd like to buy from all of them. I'd like to spend my money, and I'd like to. Some of them didn't seem to be getting a lot of attention, some of the smaller holders, but I was in such a, I felt so sort of, I've got to get around it all, I want to see everything there is to see. There were several stores I didn't go to, like the fabric stores, the people who did the yarn bowls, and you know, and I think if I do go again, and hopefully I will go next year, then I will try and look at them as well, because I missed an awful lot of stuff. And when I see what other people have bought, I think, well, I could have gone and had a look at that. Even if I hadn't bought, it would have been nice to see things, because you don't get things like this in the shops anymore, not around here anyway. So you may remember that I was looking to put some strength into my Arco Iris, because I had that very loosely spun. Right, I've got this is one of them, this is Fireside I think, and it's a very loosely spun double knitting from Camel's Yarn, and it's a silk, alpaca and merino mix, and you can tell it's alpaca because of the hairs and the fluff off it. Can you see the fluff on that? So I was looking to strengthen that, and I was looking for lace weight, and not many people do lace weight, but because Sal had made this beautiful shawl out of Appledore by John Arbon, which is a lace weight, I went and had a look there, and the one that I liked, I thought would go, I took a tiny little swatch I'd made from the 3 colours of this with me, was this called Slap My Girdle. Great, isn't it? It's show you the label, and this is, it's a bit like the Urban Rust in some ways, weirdly. But it's lace weight, but it's carries a lot more brown in it, and it's very colourful. So I'm not sure that would go, but I mean, this is not going to be wasted, because it will certainly strengthen something or be on its own. It's 40% Devon close wool, 40% Romney, 20% Exmoor Blueface. Yeah, that's it. And you get 275 metres in that little 50 gram. So that'd be nice for something. Maybe some delicate mitts. I don't know. I should wear mitts indoors in the winter, because I get very cold, you know, fingerless gloves. Anyway, so that's, I bought that. But I don't think it's going to work for that. But we're going to talk about this in a bit more detail in a minute. And then went to Bird Street. Now I've got beautiful grey collection of yarns, grey and rust collection of yarns, Bird Street, that I've had for a while now, many years, probably 5 years, 6 years. Haven't used them. John and Claire are lovely. We saw Bird Street and it started pouring down. John was just putting his coat on, he'd gone out to get some food, Claire said, and saw it was going to rain, and it absolutely thundered down because it sounded so loud on the roof. And I was having a look, and Penny was having a look, because Claire had got a lovely version of the Elton jumper in yellow, yellow stripes and yellow fluff. I think it was Suri alpaca, I think. Very pretty, and Penny was very tempted, but they didn't have the right combination. They didn't have enough of one of the colourways for Penny to buy it all that day, you see. And then I was looking at things and I saw this, which is Suri alpaca, and it's called Figgy Cloud. Bird Street. And I saw that and I thought, oh, that's nice, I quite like that. And I picked it up, I carried it around their store with me. And then I saw this, because I can't resist a speckle. This is called Opus. So it's a pink base, purpley pink base, with all these colours in. Yeah, see what I mean? And I bought 2 of them. but I knew that wouldn't be enough for a boxy. I'm thinking the Lace and Fade boxy for me, so I bought that, which is like looks like the base colour for the Opus, and this was called Rhapsody. I'd say it's more of a solid than a tonal, really, but that's going to go very well, and of course it's the right tone to go with that. But I thought I needed a 5th skein for me, you know, because I'm wide and I'm short, and I didn't think those 3 plus that would work for me. So I was looking, they didn't have that in a merino, unfortunately. Now, you know me, I don't normally buy merino because I prefer BFL. And we, in the end, we popped on our way back to the car for the final time. We called in at hall 3 again, where we found Camel's yarn. Penny bought the most gorgeous, I think that's Surrey, or was it mohair? It was like a grey, very pale grey with orange and aqua spots on it. And then she bought some coordinating solid colours to go with it, and that's going to make a beautiful Elton jumper. That's what you got in mind. Is it Penny or the Lace and Fade? Either. So I went back to Kelly, and I said to Kelly, have you got anything that will go with these? And she went, what about this? I went, thank you, sold. And it does go. It is different in tone, slightly to that, but I can see in my mind, it does go. It's on the same sort of wavelength for me anyway. It goes perfectly, and this is a superwash merino and nylon as well. So I've got all those to make. See if I can pick them all up without falling over. If I just pick one of those up, then I can. So I've got all those to do a jumper, and maybe even a hat or something. Or I should have stuff left over when. If you look at the meterage on the box, I've not looked at the meterage, have I? Anyway, what will be will be. I might do it on a slightly tighter gauge so it lasts longer. And then we had a really nice chat to Kelly about the fact that she'd like to. That there's nothing in the Midlands. There's Junction 13 in Staffordshire that's coming up in May, I think, that I've not been to. They've changed venue to what they used to be, but there's now not Yarningham isn't happening. I don't know whether it's just this year or it's not happening full stop. Then we've got nothing nearer really. We've got to travel. There used to be the Bristol Wool Fair. It's the centre of England, for goodness sake. You think somebody would do a yarn show in the middle of England, because Yarningham, the year we went, I think it was the last year before the COVID, it was really crowded on the Saturday, and it was really, really busy. In fact, I'd say that they needed a bigger venue, and I didn't think access was brilliant. It was okay, but it wasn't brilliant, because you had things like the disabled toilet couldn't flush because the thing was too high, and the lock on the door was for people who were standing. Little things like that irritate me rather than annoy me. But it was very crowded. You've got people like crammed in, and say for instance Bird Street, I remember their store was tiny compared to the walk-in one that they'd got at Wonderwool. So I think there's a case there, but Kelly said, Nick said, I don't want you to do that. He said, it's a lot to take on. He was feeling it would be a lot of work for his wife, and I agree it would be, but I think it would be successful if anybody did take it on. So that was my purchases, apart from one thing, and I can't show it you, and I'll show it you when it comes, and that's I've done a custom order from no other than Libby of Needle and Thread. Libby has got a most gorgeous array of colours. If you follow her she's done like it's like a muted rainbow, really, except it's not a rainbow. It's wider than that. You know, going from yellows, oranges, reds, green, blues to type. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really nice. And I ordered a sweater quantity from her in BFL, because that's what she normally specialises in. We had a good chat to her, and that was really nice. And she was right at the end, so I was like getting a bit frantic. Luckily, Penny had done a plan of the places that we wanted to look at. I'd mentioned, or she'd had a look at the plan on the website, and we knew that we weren't going to miss her. We'd get there eventually. So yeah, so that was nice, and that will come hopefully fairly soon. Now Tom had said to me, go out and get something blue, make yourself a nice, you know, because the one thing that might be missing in my wardrobe is a blue non-fluffy cardigan, I think. But I was watching Claire of Crookston Crafts on the Yorkshire Yarn Fest, and she's got a speckle that I'd really like to make into a cardigan, and I can see it in my mind's eye that it would look really nice as a summer cardi. But I think she only does merino, so, and I don't think it would be. She does silky yak as well, but I don't think it would work on the yak, because I think it would dull it down a lot more. So we'll have to think about that and see if anybody does a similar sort of tone in a BFL. But we'll see. I need to look at Biff Sugar, don't I? Look at Alison's. I don't need any more yarn. I don't. But anyway, that was the yarn, and that was all great. And then, as I'd said on here, we'd run into Anita and Paula, and the person I kept running into was Helen Kettridge from Mousy Makes Pod, and we'd seen her first thing, and I'd recognised her, and then we met again. We met a couple of times. We met in Katie Greenbean's stand. You couldn't see Katie's face because she'd got quite a big mask on, and she'd got glasses on and a hat, and I don't blame her, because it was very cold, even in the bigger hall, you know, not as cold as Hall 3. But you couldn't see her face, so it was a bit strange. But I met Helen. We had a little chat as we were looking at things that Katie got on for sale, you know, beautiful items. But I wanted to buy something, but I couldn't make up my mind. I thought, you can't make up your mind, you need to walk away, you know. And I felt like that about a few things I looked at. My dog is fighting with his teddy. Can you hear him? I'm recording here, Bert. Bert's fighting with Pig. You little devil, ain't you? This is because he's still got energy in him. He might be an old dog, but there's plenty of fight left in that little devil. Anyway, come lunchtime, we all sat down, like we said, and Anita and Paula. We found it hard initially to get a seat, because obviously other people had the same idea. And Penny went and got me a drink. There was a long queue. The catering wasn't as good as it should have been. There were very long queues. And I'm hoping people have fed that back to the people at Wonderwool, because it was a ridiculous amount of time, you know, to somebody telling me that they'd said they'd spent 3/4 of an hour in a queue, you know, the day before. And as they got nearer and nearer the end to say what they wanted, things were being written, scratched out of the board, you know, that they were no longer available. I think it must have been near the end of the afternoon, and they hadn't had any to eat and broke for lunch or anything. I took sandwiches. I took cheese and cucumber sandwiches with me. So Penny joined the queue to get me a drink, because I'm getting really cold by then, cold and hungry, because I'm not eating any breakfast either. And I sat next to this lady, and I said to her, "What have you bought then?" And she went, "Nothing." And I went, "What do you mean, nothing? I could come to a wool show." She went, "Yeah, I bought nothing. It's too expensive." I said, "Well, Indie Dye yarn is." She said, "Yeah, but I wasn't expecting it to be this expensive." She said, "It's lovely. It's really nice." So I think it was a bit of a shock to her. And I said to her, I think there's some room really at some of these yarn shows for people like Stylecraft or Serdar to have a stall or a stand. And you get, I think I said before, didn't I, Black Sheep Wools, they're going to a thing at the NEC, I noticed, craft thing at the NEC, and they come with packs. I mean, there might be end of runs that they get from manufacturers, and they sell them off fairly cheap. And I've had a couple of bargains off them at different shows, but you don't see them everywhere. They don't go to yarn shows, which is a bit strange. But yeah, you don't see a lot of commercial stuff. What I would call commercial. I mean, you know, some of these people they create a lot of yarn, they get through a lot of yarn, but not like the big boys like Stylecraft, Serdar, and you think, surely somebody would be selling them, or packs of them. And Ammonite Yarns were there, and they probably sell West Yorkshire Spinners there, because they're a shop anyway in South Wales. But you don't get any of the big boys turning up and selling their stuff. Anyway, so this lady was a bit disappointed, but she said they hadn't come far, so, you know. And her friend came back with a thing. They had their drink, and then they moved and we had more space. So you'll see on the video that there was Helen and Penny, me, and then Sal, and then Anita, and then Pip, and then Paula going round. And it was nice. Pip said, if you see somebody standing in front of you grinning at you, she said, you'll know it's me. Anyway, I realised when somebody stood next to me. Went, hello, Anne. I went, hello, Pip. And she bought some nice things as well. We sat down and she gave me the plitalope, which was great. And we had a really nice chat. I mean, we were there that long because nobody wanted to wait too much time when they could be, you know, shopping really. And it was nice to get everybody together, and it was easier to sit and have a quick chat than it was to meet them in the corridors, you know, between the stalls and that. And it started emptying out probably about 2:30, 3, but we'd had big downfalls, and it was still quite cold. So Penny and I decided, we went back into Hall 3, like I say, where I bought the Lay Family yarn, and we decided that it was time to go. But we met some really nice people. We met a couple outside the disabled toilet. They were ex-bikers. The man got MS, and the lady's wife, I presume, she they looked different, and that was nice. I think she had granny stitch socks on in bright neon colours. Excellent, you know. And her husband stroke partner was in a wheelchair, and that's why I started talking to him, because he's got a lithium ion one, a bit like the ones I was looking at Nadex, and he got a plaited beard, but yeah, he got MS, and they're talking about the different things they'd had done to the home and stuff, and the wheelchairs and things. So that was a really nice. I think we were talking to them for about 15 minutes. Who else did we see? We saw lots of people, and everybody's really nice on it. So everything I've bought has got a purpose, and I'm happy. I don't regret any sort of, what's it called, impulsive purchases. I didn't buy what I thought I might buy, but I'm happy with what I've bought, especially the Bird Street / Lay Family yarn combo. That is going to be next on my needles. Anyway, we went back to Camel's Yarn, and I said to Hannah, who's the lady that runs it, the girl that runs it, I told her about my issue with this, about wanting a lace weight to go with it. Now bear in mind I've got 6 2 times 3 colours, 6 of this. It's got quite a bit of money. I think it was discounted at the time, but it was quite a bit of money. And she said to me, I wouldn't use it for jumpers. I wasn't ratty. I thought, it's what I suspected. She said, we've made that shawl. She had a lovely shawl in this yarn. I think one of them might have been the same colourway. I mean, you can pull it, it doesn't fall apart, but it's very softly twisted. Looks like a tube more than anything. She said, I don't know. She said, I don't think I would make a jumper out of it because of the issues with it, because it's soft and you've only got to go like that and you've got fluff coming off it. Even when I was trying to, I decided to hand wind it using my hands as a swift. Big mistake. And I kept coming big clumps. You know what I mean? And I presume that's the alpaca. Put that in my little bin in a minute. So now I've got all this and I don't know what to do with it. So I won't be making the Arco Iris just yet. But I'm thinking big shawl or something like a poncho where I don't get the wear, you know, because it's this arm versus boob thing that matters for me. So yeah, and that's another interesting. I had a chat with Estelle of Midwinter Yarns. If you follow them, a lovely couple, Estelle and Mark. They are moving to Shetland, and Estelle's got a job with a company up there, and I think she said her husband got a job up there as well, so that's good. So they won't be doing any more shows because they're too far away, and they're going to be busy. But they're still going to have their online shop of selling the linen and their black and blue wool, which I've got an order for. So I might get, actually that's a good idea, I might get a blue out of them for that. But she's saying which colours she's going to do. So if it's the blue near to the one I want, then I'll have that. Don't matter about the speckles. I asked her about the mock bras that she wears, because I don't know if you've seen them, but they're sort of soft crossover jersey. I presume they're a heavyweight jersey-ish. And I asked her about them. I said, can I ask you a personal question? It was getting quieter by then. And she said, yes. But I don't know what she thought I was going to ask. I said, the bras. And she was happy to chat about them. And I've had a look online. I need to decide what size I need to buy from them. It was quite interesting. And she was talking about the knickers as well. Because it's all right. As you know, I've been having trouble trying to find knickers that I can handle, basically. They're all a bit either too strong. And she said about, I think the Molk ones were a bit too, they weren't stretchy enough. Where she said a company called Thunderpants, great, isn't it, were more stretchy. Although on their website it says that they're made out of good quality jersey. So I was thinking, I wonder if they could send me a swatch of it. They might do, mightn't they? Anyway, so I had an interesting chat about underwear as well with Estelle, bless her, she's lovely. She won't remember me. I've met her at every Wonderwool we've been to. I've always bought something from her. So yeah, and I've got the green, black and blue to make from a couple of years ago, well, probably about 4 years ago. But I'm looking forward to turning that into something. Don't know what. So anyway, I'll stop waffling now. I had a really, really nice time. I loved it, and I'd like to go again. I got home, I was all right. We took us a bit longer to get home than it did to get there. A bit more traffic on the road, and it did rain on and off. We got to Bromyard, and as you dip into Bromyard, you could see, which is a town before Worcester in Herefordshire, and you could see the sky was turning black, and it's partly because the sun was out behind us a bit. And then as we went up over the Bromyard Downs, it started hailing and raining on us, and I thought this is going to be fun. But actually it moved off fairly quickly, so we had quite a dry run back into Worcester, dropped Penny off, got home, had a cup of tea because I was dehydrated and I was also a little bit hungry, so ate the Welsh cakes, and we and it was nice, relaxed. And then Monday I had a really good lie-in. I even took a tablet before I went to bed that day, one of my strong tablets, but I don't think they really make a big difference to me at night. But Monday I was very tired, and I wanted to fall asleep. I didn't ache that much, but even on Tuesday I met Mum at Webb's because she's gone to Portugal, so I wanted to see her before she went on early Thursday morning. So I met Mum at Webb's and we had a cup of tea. Sorry, my nose is itching, it must be that. And I was tired when I got home, even though I'd only been out a couple of hours, so it took me a good 2 days to recover. Is it worth it? You're damn right it is. So, looking forward to going next year. So, what else have I done apart from Wonderwool? Well, I met Mum, say, in Webb's, and I bought, did I buy? A couple of plants for the garden. But the previous, after I recorded last time, I was seeing Elaine and Liz the following day, and it was very, very busy in Maryhill. I think they queued for well over 20 minutes just to get a drink in Costa, in the Costa in Next, which is usually a bit quieter than the ones in the actual centre. And then we had to queue again in Greg's, which wasn't too bad, and we sat down and ate. I had something for our lunch a bit later on. Bought a t-shirt from Bon Marche in a pretty pink colour and a notch neck, because I do like their t-shirts. Then the Monday after that, so 2 weeks ago tomorrow, went to Solihull with Mum. I bought some grey jersey from John Lewis to make a jacket, a bit like the one that's on the back of the door, which I'm hoping to wear now, wear on Wednesday night if it's warm enough, when it's Tena evening. And yeah, we didn't do a lot. We walked round, had to resort to Starbucks for a hot chocolate because we were cold. Quite nice, but I'll just tell you this. Mum bought a bag of donuts from Greg's for us to eat for our dinner because didn't fancy anything from Starbucks. And when you look at it, I mean, I don't want to sound cheap. I'm not cheap, you know, I've spent a fortune. But Starbucks had an almond croissant and it was like £2.80 or £2.40. And then for like half that price, you can get four donuts from Greg's. So it's a no-brainer, really. We sat outside and Mum said, oh, that lady's going to sit on the thing. I said, that's all right, we'll sit on the other end of the bench. We sat there and we started talking. And this lady, she was saying that I said, you need one of these, like my electric chair. She said, I've got one at home. I think she means like a mobility scooter. She said, but I kept crashing into things. She said, I'm dangerous with it. She said, but I have got, she got like a roller, what are they called? You know, like a walker with a roller with thingy. She said, I've got one of these with a seat on, which I should have bought. She said, but if I take it on the bus, people moan at me. So you shouldn't take any notice of people on the bus. Anyway, she was a blummy, yeah, and she was trying to tell us a story, but this older man came up, started talking to us. So I was sat there quite bemused with my mother. This lady was actually younger than my mother, and this man who was 92, dressed very dapper, you know. And he kept trying to he wasn't rude, but you know, everybody wanted to talk. But it was interesting. And this lady was saying they were comparing notes about what had gone, you know, what was missing, what used to be there, that's no longer there when they were kids and all that. And of course they knew a lot of the same areas. So that was really, really nice, a nice chat. I've kept you for 1 hour and 12 minutes, which is far too long. A little bit will be edited out when I'm rummaging and trying to find things. Maybe even Bertie clattering his ears. Anyway, it's been lovely talking to you. I hope I haven't yattered on too much, waffled too much about Wonderwool, but you know, you're here because I waffle, aren't you? Yeah, if you watch me on a regular basis, subscribe. I never say that, but my subscriptions seem to bob up and down. It don't bother me. I just mention it occasionally because people do. It's something to say, and you'll get notified then if you click on the bell if you want to see me again. Right, I'll take some pictures of Wednesday night and us dressed in our finery. I don't think I'm going to make any ermine after all. I'll get some cotton wool and put black dogs on it, but I don't think I will. I'll just get in a mess, won't I? But yeah, you take care. What have you been up to? Did you go to Wonderwool? And if you did you buy anything? What did you buy? I want to know. Please. You take care. I'll see you soon. Bye. I finished. I didn't even put my light on.